Well, hello, everybody. Here we are today to talk about the Phish show in Omaha, Nebraska, November 16th, 1996, just a couple of weeks after a great Halloween show at the Omni in Atlanta where they played the Talking Heads. And then in this show, that Runaway Jim, there was parts in the Runaway Jim where I was like, oh, yeah, I had just recently listened to that Talking Heads set, too, and you could certainly hear that. The influence there. It wasn't quite to where they would be the following fall of 97, but there was a little bit of that early funk sound, and certainly it leaned more towards a Talking Head sound, though, really. Or the combination of the Phish Talking Head sound, whatever that one is. It's a very good sound. But that wasn't all they did. The first set, mostly forgettable. This was a second set that was mostly about or a show that was mostly about the second set. And also, one of the reasons why I always felt like, look, if they played Catapult, it was a good set. And I believe this show was one of the shows that added to that lure, if you will. For me. And it was like, well, let's finish up on the first set. We got one of those 96 frees, those mid-90s frees. I guess if you were there and you were like going to all the shows, maybe these got to be a little bit, they felt a little repetitive. But if you're just like me and you're just catching one every now and then, one a month or every couple of months you hear one, they're pretty cool. I still like them. But I do understand why maybe not everybody was on board with the 95, 96 free, that mid-90s free, you know. And I do think they show some serious discipline to not like go back into the old bag of tricks. You know, I mean, like not even for a show will Trey bring out a little bit of percussion, which I think other bands certainly would do, if nothing else, just to get a little rise out of the crowd, some cheap thrills, you know. Just an easy alley-oop, really. So good for them for showing the discipline, for not going back into the bag of tricks. I would do that more often with my own recaps if I could recall things that I said that were funny in the past. In fact, I should do that. I should bust out a bunch of recaps from like 6 or 7 years ago, write down the funny things that I said, and just repeat them. All right, so I had a coughing fit right in the middle of the video. It's a good thing the pause button was right there. So let's get going. And, you know, the rest of the first set didn't have a whole lot. There was a really nice Guyuti, there was a Rockin' Down with Disease, a David Bowie that felt a little extra special. And then the second set is where it really all gets going. They open up with LaGrange, too. Not a cover that I'm usually a big fan of. You know, I mean, it's okay. I respect ZZ Top and everything that they did in their career, but not usually one that I'm jumping on. But, man, this one, Trey, especially by the end when it started to really... they really started to hammer it home. Trey was just going off and then smoothly back into the ending of LaGrange. And that was not the last we would hear of LaGrange. Got a brief tease of it, a nice solid tease of it in Susie Greenberg later on. But then that LaGrange took us into the Runaway Jim, which was one of the bigger ones of the night. Like I said, you certainly could feel the Talking Heads influence, the Halloween show influence in this Runaway Jim jam. Certainly one to look up. I believe you can just find it isolated on YouTube along with Hood and a few others. But then that's when things got a little bit wacky. You get the Vibration of Life, Kung, and Catapult back to back. I like how in the 90s they pronounced it Kung, and now they pronounce it Kung. I go with however they pronounce it. Whatever I'm hearing on stage in that particular recording, I'm going with that. All right? Now, there's a little bit of controversy. Is it Kung or is it Kung? Whatever they say, that's what I'm going to say. Tonight I heard Kung. Kung! Other times you hear Kung. All right, so then they get into Catapult, and it was yeah, all this was like, it was just crazy and wild, you know. They're trying, I mean, I guess there's vocals, lyrics, there's words to those songs. Why don't I do one finger over? Look, I did two there. I have trouble with the two fingers over here. It's not quite a quote if there's only one finger in action. All right, so Lee Fordham, big shout outs to Lee Fordham. Rest in peace, Lee Fordham. He was Australian, mate, and he was first brought up in the Axilla. I don't know where that came from, but then it continued right as they're hitting the Harry and the crowd chanting Hood. The band switches it to Lee Fordham, Lee Fordham. I don't know if the crowd ever got into the Fordham or not. You know, Lee Fordham was pretty much, he was a big deal, you know, when, that might have been another thing. This show might have been a little bit resurrected when Round Room dropped, too, and 46 Days was first heard. And then they were like, Lee Fordham. I remember Lee Fordham. Remember Lee Fordham from that Omaha show? Who is Lee Fordham? Well, Lee Fordham tragically died in a truck crash. He's no longer with us. According to Trey, he was never happy about that line in 46 days. So, anyways, In the Hood was very good. At one point, I don't know if it was for Lee Fordham or not, but Trey held a note in Hood for it felt like about 2 minutes, to the point to where he was like trying to get the crowd. It was almost like he was doing the what's that weird thing Paige uses sometimes, the theremin, I believe it is. Trey was doing a little bit of that. It's like he was manipulating the air around this long, 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 never-ending note that he played. And then you get into a pretty wild Susie Greenberg, checking back in on a few songs they had played throughout the night, and pretty much equaling a pretty awesome second set. What did we get for the encore, actually? Oh, yeah, and then we're an American band encore. That was pretty cool, nod to Omaha, of course. And pretty cool song on drums, I know a lot of young, aspiring drummers back when, in my teenage years, when all my friends were, like, becoming musicians and buying drum kits. That was the song. If you could play an American band, we're an American band. If you could play that, you had reached a new level. You were no longer a white belt. Boom. You had advanced on beyond AC/DC. All right, guys. Boom. Wally P., thanks for the request. And I'm sure you were there, and I'm sure it was a good time, and I am sure you enjoyed the second set. All right. What do you guys think about those mid-90s frees? I think if this was like a current tour and I was doing what I do and I'm checking in on every show, I might be like, oh, man, here we go again with free. Woo! I did like Trey on the percussion. And did I mention I think they showed discipline? I did. Boom, we're out of here. Thank you, Wally P. Thanks to every other member. Thanks to anybody that's watching. MSG seems a far, far distance away, doesn't it? It's all right. I got 2 cats to keep me busy. Love you guys. Boom, we're out of here.